going to begin this hour with the war in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin marked Victory Day by defending his war against his neighbor.
That's right. This holiday commemorates the Soviet defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. Putin used the event to justify his invasion of Ukraine with false claims and propaganda, telling his nation they were fighting for their country. But despite speculation, he did not declare war or a victory on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials report Moscow has increased its assault in the east and south. They say Russian forces stormed the steel plant in Mariupol today.
They also accuse Russian forces of bombing a school over the weekend where dozens of civilians were sheltering, at least 60 people believed to be dead at this hour. CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta joins us now from Kyiv, Ukraine, with more on all of this. Deborah, you spoke with acting U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, that'd be Christina Kyiv. What did she tell you about the conditions on the ground there and this new effort to sanction Russian media outlets and what effect that might have?
Well, the acting ambassador has just returned to Kyiv, and that was a very emotional moment for her. She has been based in Poland since the war started, so coming back today was certainly something that felt very, she came back yesterday, in fact, was very meaningful for her. And she was very firm. She believes that Vladimir Putin's war has failed, that his war has not gone according to plan, that he failed to capture Kyiv as predicted, and that he is stumbling and staggering along in the east, where he has battled to take full control, for example, of Mariupol. Even there, he still hasn't managed to seize control of that city. Regarding sanctions, she said the new raft of sanctions that has come in against Russia, essentially the reason behind them is to deprive Vladimir Putin of the funds he needs to fund his war. And so that the harder the sanctions are, the less income, the less resources, the less money will be coming into the country, and the less money can be put into his war campaign. And also another part of the sanctions is to strengthen Ukraine's hand at the negotiating table. Tony?
And Deborah, it's Tanya here. While Putin did not declare war today, as some had predicted, he also did not declare victory. Do we have any insight into what Putin is planning next?
I think anyone who has an insight and can categorically state what is going on in Vladimir Putin's mind right now, well, I certainly wouldn't be brave enough to do that, because there have been so many surprises in this war. It's really difficult to say. There was a lot of speculation ahead of the Victory Day parade today that either he'd declare all-out war, and let me just explain that. Remember that according to Vladimir Putin, this is a special operation. In Russia, you are not allowed to call it a war, so that would have been a first, but that did not happen. He also didn't claim victory. There was speculation that he might do that. But let's have a look at, possible reasons for that. It is difficult for him to claim victory because his forces have been doing really badly, and that they have yet to, take much of the east, where they have been fighting now for over 10 weeks. He hasn't really got much to show for it. Where he goes next, well, that is unclear. But what is very certain is that the bombardment of the east continues, that has not let up at all. We saw with that horrific bombing of that school that was sheltering all those civilians, in which 60 people died in Luhansk, that this war continues, and it continues very fiercely. Ukraine also continuing to fight very fiercely back and to put up very, very strong resistance in the east, just as they did around the capital when Russian tanks tried to enter Kyiv.
Yeah, and Deborah, there's definitely an absence of good information about what Vladimir Putin is thinking. But from the actions you've seen so far, what's visible, despite losses on the Russian side, it would appear that Vladimir Putin at this point is in it for the long haul. Do we have any information that suggests he's still looking for an exit, or is this going to be a grinding, indeterminate war?
Well, that really has already been the situation in the east since 2014. It's been this grinding conflict, little upsurges every now and again, and that certainly could be one of Vladimir Putin's strategies. That would be a terrible scenario for Ukraine, because it would deplete them of resources, it would drain the economy, and it would mean that Ukraine just can't get back on its feet, that they would have to concentrate constantly on the war effort instead of policies and other issues that one would normally do in terms of the running of a normal democratic country. So that would really be a terrible scenario. But at the moment, it does certainly seem that he's setting his feet in, and that bombardment, as I said, of the East is continuing, Tony.
All right, Debora Patta for us in Ukraine. Debora, thank you very much.